What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be doing a comparison between these three Hoover Elites. Most of throughout the video is going to be focused on these two Hoover Preferreds. That Elite Supreme over there is for one comparison later on in the video. But for anyway, one similarity that all of these have is they both have those tan handle covers on the top. And the Elite Supreme and Preferred, or at least the maroon one that is, both have side mount attachments. However, the Preferreds has a stretch hose, whereas the Elite Supreme just has a plastic hose. This could be just me, but I think the plastic hose on the Elite Supreme is a little bit longer than the flex hose on the Preferred. But anyway, for more on these two Preferreds, one similarity that both of these have are the bag door designs. You can see they're quite the same. Both of them do take Hoover Type A bags, like that. These both are running HEPA Type A's for increased filtration. And that's how you know they take the same shaped bag door. They both fit exactly the same. The blue Preferred, I can tell you, is a much newer model than the maroon Preferred. For one of them being the fact that this is where the Elites were at the end of the line, and most of them came with the stretch hose instead of the side mount hose on the Preferred. Well, some of them did come with side mount hose, but they were more plastic hoses like the Elite Supreme over there. Both of them do come with stair cleaning handles. And you will notice the font on the bag doors are a little bit different from old versus new. As you can see, the new one only has the same Preferred logo with 100% of dust mites, allergens in their eggs, allergen filtration, 99.98% of ragweed and grass pollens. Whereas on the older Preferred, you had your big traditional Hoover lettering on the top right there. Cleaning effective, energy efficient, breathe easy direct air system. One major difference between these two vacuums are the motors that are in there. This newer Preferred has a 12 amp motor, and the older one has a 7.2 amp motor. So there's definitely quite a difference in power compared to the two, and also the way they sound, which I will demonstrate later in the video. But for now, I'll go ahead and disassemble these vacuums and show you both motors up close. The motors in these vacuums are sure one big difference in the way they sound and how they perform. This is the 12 amp motor that's out of the 01 Preferred, and this is the 7.2 amp motor that's out of the 95 Preferred. As you can see, this one sure has seen better days. You can see the fan housing is starting to crack and break. But both of these motors run exceptionally smooth, and however, I do like the performance of, or more likely the sound of the 7.2 amp versus the 12 amp. This one outperforms the 7.2 amp. And the reason why is because what's inside here. And if you can see right here, this is what the fan impeller looks like compared to the 7.2 amp. Look at this. I mean, it's hard to tell, but let me take these fan housings off and show you. Alright, here's the big difference in how the 12 amp motor outperforms the 7.2 amp. The style of a fan propeller. As you can see, this one here is a 20 blade fan impeller, and you see the 7.2 amp only has a 7 blade impeller, in which this definitely flows a lot more air, and the fan is more shatter resistant than the 7.2 amp. But one nice thing is you could actually put a 12 amp 20 blade fan as a replacement to the fan impeller of your 7.2 amp, and that's actually what the Elite Supreme there is running, because it's a 7.2 amp, but it has the 20 blade fan like the 12 amp, which that does improve your airflow quite a bit, but it does change up the sound of the motor on that one, because those actually make it sound like an older 5 amp or a 6 amp, and which I'll show you later when we do the comparison of them running. Alright, now that all the motors are back in, let's get back to more parts of the comparison. As you can see, here are all of the tools on the older Preferred. They're all the black colored tools: upholstery tool, crevice tool, and dusting brush. Right here's your extension wand, and just like on the newer one, they have a little port that you stick right down into the head of the vacuum, and that's where you get your suction. The attachments on the newer Preferred are colored in tan. This right here is the crevice tool. Here's your upholstery tool, and your dusting brush, and your extension wand. One thing I kind of like is right here. Remember to check the filter bag. That's one nice thing for some of you new time owners who've never owned a bag vacuum before, who are so used to bagless nowadays. One very nice thing I've learned about these vacuums is both of these tool caddies are swappable. If you don't believe me, here's me swapping all of the tool caddies. I put the 95's side mount tool caddy on the 01, and the 01's tool caddy on the 95's. And one thing that put the 01's tool caddy on the 95 is just made this look like it was from the late 80s. I think 98 was when they still had this particular style of Preferred with the same maroon color, and if it were to come with the wraparound hose. There's all the tools back here, all of the black matching tools, and this is what the old side mount stretch hose would look like if it were to come on these newer Preferreds. And I took the labor of putting on the tan attachments to kind of give it a more pleasing look. But if you ask me, I think this is how these newer style Elites should have came with the stretch hose, or at least the plastic side mount hose, to make it look a lot more high-end than just cheapening up and slowly starting to discontinue them for home use. Alright, so that was that. And one odd thing that I did find with the newer Preferred is that the head doesn't stand up when you put the vacuum in its upright position compared to the older Preferred. Now, this probably has to do with the shape of the motor casing right there, and the fact that it doesn't have those little ridges inside when you saw me take the motor apart, of why those heads don't stand up. Is the fact this one stands up, and when you recline the vacuum back, it drops the head down onto the carpet. And then when you put it back up, you will notice how most of these Elites, they nudge forward a bit before they lock into place. That's because it's trying to push up on the bottom wheel, on the front, push up on top of the front wheels to get them to stand up. Whereas this one, it just stays right, whatever carpet height you leave it at. You could bring it up to the highest. So let me go ahead and show you the bottom of these. There is both the brush rolls on these. They are both pretty different. The brush roll in the newer Preferred is a replacement by Cleveland Wood Products, and to me it almost looks very similar than the genuine brush roll that's in the Preferred. So I'll go ahead and show you the model number of both of them. The maroon Preferred is from June of 1995, and the blue Preferred is October of 2001. And I really never knew the Elite series stretched all the way up to that year. I thought they would have killed them off by the time the wind tunnels came out, which they actually discontinued these Elites momentarily, but for some reason they decided to bring them back for commercial use because basically of how reliable that these become and how well they've held up over the years, but they just wouldn't stand the test for commercial use because of how much plastic is made into these things. But anyway, now we'll go ahead and plug these vacuums in and show you the difference of the sound in the motors compared to the 7.2 amp and the 12 amp. And the main reason why I wanted to include the Elite Supreme on this in this comparison is because this has the 7.2 amp motor just like the maroon Preferred, only it has the 20 blade fan like the blue Preferred. So this definitely changes up the sound of the motor and definitely increases your airflow quite a bit. I will go ahead and demonstrate the sound of these right now. Alright, first we're going to start off with the maroon 95 Preferred with the 7.2 amp motor and the original 7 blade fan. Now we're going to go on to the 12 amp. Alright, and here's the blue 2001 Preferred with the 12 amp motor. see, it does turn at a much faster RPM and definitely feels like it draws more air than the 7 amp, the 7.2 amp. Now you will notice I didn't get all throughout the corner of the room because the cord is so ridiculously short on this. I think it's only like 20 feet, which I'm probably gonna have to upgrade that to a much longer cord one of these days because I really hate how short this is. And lastly, here's the Elite Supreme with the 7.2 amp motor, but with the 20 blade fan impeller from a 12 amp. Definitely does sound like an older 6 or 5 amp motor, and it does sound a lot more quieter than those other two right there. It definitely works and sounds nice. So I hope you've enjoyed the comparison and running of these 3 Hoover Elites. Don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.